Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing Babylon 1 in the 5-minute pool on ICC. Just throwing another video in to spice up today's content a little bit. This player's 2308, and let's play c6 and then go for d5. We'll play it like a Gurgenidze variation. Okay, and white plays h3, that's reliable. Let's take. And then after they take back with their knight, I'll play knight d7. Once again, with these games, I'm focusing on speed and making quick decisions, not getting too preoccupied with, playing the absolute best move in every situation in a blitz game. So this position is probably a little bit better for white, but I know what to do as black in these scenarios. I'm locking in my bishop, you see, but my plan is to go b6 and then bishop b7 and try to break out later. a4 is interesting, just grabbing space on this side of the board. I think I'll play a5 in response to that. Yeah, let's just stop the advance of white's a-pawn any further. I still would like to play b5, bishop b7, and then maybe an eventual c5 to take a crack at that pawn structure. Okay, and it looks like white's going to allow me to complete my development like this. Yeah, these moves all make sense. So I'm just kind of crouching behind my structure and taking it easy a little bit. Let's play rook e8 just to reinforce the e6 pawn. With white's rook on d1 opposing my queen, it will be harder to play c5 in the future, but it's not out of the question that I'll get to do that move. Okay, knight d7. Should I play that to try to exchange that piece? Knight d5 also comes to mind. Maybe knight d5. Attacking the bishop. Probably bishop back to c1 makes sense now that they don't have a rook on a1. But after bishop to c1, I could play queen c7 and then bring my rook over to... Oh, and they just dropped a piece. That is a clean drop of a piece. Not much more to be said. If I move my knight, they take off 7, but there's a couple things I can do here, like queen f6. Although queen f6, they can attack my queen with something like knight d7. But do I really care about that? I don't think so. What about queen f6, knight g4? Here I will pause and think for a moment because I'm up a piece, and if I make the right decision on the next move or two, I'm going to win. I could also take e5, but taking e5, they take with a pawn. Queen g5. I think I prefer to keep my bishop on g7. What about just queen g5 straight away? Is there anything wrong with that? h4. Queen f5. g4. Queen f6. g5. Queen f5 again. No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that line. All right, so let's do this. So I'm just trying to find the best way to hold on to that knight without losing the f7 pawn. Pretty big misstep by white, but it happens sometimes in blitz. Now I think I would play bishop takes e5 on the next move. Like maybe, well, now I guess, okay, I see their point now. They're going to try to get at f7 this way. Oh yeah, that might have been a mistake by me. I might have messed up there. That's annoying. I missed that g3 was possible. Now if bishop takes e5, they take with a rook. And attack my queen. And then knight takes h3, king g2, queen h6. Rook h1. Ugh, nasty. There's also just knight takes h3, king here, then queen h6, but they would win f7 in that case. Yeah, I messed up a little bit. Not good. Okay, let's just take e5. He's going to take with a rook. Taking with a pawn would be terrible. I could just move the knight back to d5. Now I'm thinking knight takes h3. At least this is my intention. Yeah, gotta do it. Not pretty, but it has to be done. King g2. Queen h6, rook h1. I'd like to get a quick c5 in after that if possible. Should I really invite Rook h1, though. Doesn't matter. Got to move fast. Okay, so now knight g5. Rook takes, knight takes. Okay, let's do this. Because I think I'm going to lose the piece no matter what, so let's just go and attack that queen. See if we can force a simplification. At least I'm up a pawn still, after the dust settles. They could move the queen and try to avoid the queen trade. That's possible. Just another day at the office, right? Your opponent blunders a piece, and you blunder right back. Maybe it wasn't so easy after queen f3. We'll see, though. But I have a feeling I missed some clean way to consolidate there. For the moment, focus like a laser beam, as my friend David would say, on the task at hand. Okay, let's go here and attack this pawn, and I'd still like to play c5. Could have played c5 check on the previous move, but I wanted to rule out d5. Although, actually, that would have been a fine move to allow. Let's play here. Maybe f6 to come. Because if this move, rook moves away... yeah, he can go there. h6 maybe. If f6, rook takes, bishop takes, rook e8, rook e4. He holds that piece. Okay, let's go here. I'm still trying to get in some combination of like f6 and c5. g5 now? Let's do g5. Okay, so now that just looks like it loses material. f6, yeah. Because if rook e4, I get c5 in. This rook has run out of squares. He has to play d5 if he wants to save the rook. Not a nice move to have to play. So it looks like I'm going to be up 2 pawns after this. Because note that rook takes, bishop takes, rook e8. If d5, I have bishop takes d5. Just winning. So he's going to give this up and try to play this position, but this is losing. Go after the bishop after the b2 pawn as well. Rook e7. Yeah, let's play rook e7. Just stop any check on the back rank. Let's go here and attack that pawn. I have 36 seconds, though.
Check.
Okay, let's come here. Attack the pawn. Let's go here. Maybe d3 check. Could be helpful. Yeah, I'm going to simplify, actually, because I think this is just the easiest way to win. And then we'll run with the outside pawn. Not much more to be said. Bring the king in a little bit. Could also go after a4 almost whenever we want. Well, let's just do this. We'll block him. Allowing him to take, but yeah, this is a total win.
Check.
When you're in time pressure, you got to find the simplest way to win, definitely. With 20 seconds, we're not letting this escape. All right, so white blundered a bishop early on in this one in the middle game. But surprisingly, after knight takes f4, queen f3, it's a little hard to figure out what to do. I think that being said, though, I should have played bishop takes e5. I was trying to avoid playing that move, but bishop takes e5, d takes e5, queen g5, rook d7. Maybe that's nothing. Although that attacks the bishop, and maybe they can get at f7. He's upset in the chat. He said, "You won. Bravo. What a technique." Yeah, I mean, I never understand why people get upset when they're the ones who blundered. Like, it's not like I swindled him somehow. Like, he just straight up blundered. Maybe I blundered back, technically, but getting upset at your opponent almost never makes sense. Okay, so Gurgenidze system. Knight d7, and then I prepare knight f6. It would be interesting for white to play, after knight d7, the move queen e2. So that could catch like an inattentive black player off guards, because if black routinely plays like just knight gf6 here, they get hit
Check.
with knight d6 check. Then they have to move the king, and white can take c8, and white's probably better with the bishop pair, and black's king has been disturbed. So instead, bishop c4 was played. I just played knight
Check.
f6, and we got a trade. And I mentioned that I thought this position was slightly better for white, but it's within the realm of normalcy. I've actually seen a player, Grandmaster Keith Arkell, English Grandmaster, play this setup quite a bit from the black side. And he's often locked in this light square bishop and then gone like bishop b6 and bishop b7, and then eventually tried to break out with a timely c5. So that's the model I was following here. a4 is an interesting move, though, because I think if I play b6, he would just charge ahead with a5 and try to disturb me. Like if the bishop comes to b7, then a6 could be played. So a5 instead, queen e2, I just played b6, bishop b7, rook e8, reinforcing the pawn. Yeah, so I was speculating that white should play bishop c1 here. Just hide the bishop and proceed from there. Instead, though, he dropped the bishop and then played queen f3. So I would be completely winning if it were not for the problem on f7. Like, if not for this happening. And then black losing the bishop on b7. So there is this dilemma to solve, and I think I made the wrong call here. I spent about a minute and then played queen g5. I'll check the engine in a second, but I predict it's going to say that this is the better way of going. And then rook d7, and maybe just something like, maybe just bishop c8 here, and just repel this rook. Possibly white has like some compensation, but it really shouldn't be much. Just going to make sure I don't drop queen takes f7. Like maybe here, just rook f8, let's say. And yes, I'll have to endure a little bit of a passive position in the short term, but a piece is a piece, and when you consolidate that material, black is going to win. So let's now see what the engine likes here. Yep, bishop takes e5, d takes e5, queen g5. Allow rook d7, then just play bishop c8. Yeah, so exactly as I said. If rook c7, bishop a6. Okay. What if here? Queen d8. Aha. Retreat the queen and attack the rook, which has few good squares. If here, knight e2 check. I assume the point is that if takes, we come here and we win the rook. Yeah. So I probably should have seen that line in the game. As it turned out, I just missed the strength of this g3 idea, which I really shouldn't have because white doesn't have too many other good moves. I was looking at h4 for some reason. I thought h4 might be a move to consider, and I thought that queen f5 would be fine. But g3 directly, on the other hand. Okay, so the engine says bishop takes e5 is fine now. Rook takes e5, knight takes h3, king g2, queen h6, rook h1. Okay, so it approves of my play. Yeah, because if the queen abandons its post right now, in other words, if he does not take on h6 and plays like queen e2, then I get c5 and would check, and I think this is promising. Where I would have to play d5, because otherwise they come to grief on this long diagonal. So d5, yeah, queen back to g7. Let's say they take here now. c4, that's a nifty move. And if bishop takes c4, we can take d5. At least I thought we could. Attacking the queen and also the bishop. Maybe queen f3 and they counterpin. The engine says stronger even is f6 first, taking advantage of this rook. And also defending the bishop here. Okay, that makes sense. So that if rook g4, now this move is working without a hitch. Queen f3, we just take, and white cannot do that. Okay, so yeah, there was a problem with white moving the queen, hence they took on h6. I might have misplayed it somewhere. Maybe not. In retrospect, I thought c5 right away could have been stronger. Idea being like d5 and then maybe just f6 right here and try to force the rook away so we can win this pawn cleanly. White can play king f4 against c5. What if I just take the pawn? Yeah, black's up 2 pawns. Shouldn't be much compensation for white. So c5 check right away also looks good, but I think this doesn't blow my advantage per se. And they just got gummed up with their rook on e5. I wanted to play f6 right here, but the problem is I think they can just take. And After take, this move comes with check, so I don't have time to play rook e8 and pin them. And I looked at, I think, this line. Rook h4, rook e8, and rook e4 saves them. If f5, they can even play bishop takes f5, and they're attacking my rook and simultaneously defending their own rook. So king g7, rook h4. Here I played h6, the idea being just to play g5. I still had ambitions to get this move in. And after c3, that's probably the final mistake, because now white is losing material. Rook e4 and c5. Yeah, this is too much. I was expecting them to play d5 to try to save the rook, but well, I guess even in this case I have a cool move, c4. That c4 move comes in handy once again. Point being that if bishop takes, we play e takes d5 with the fork, and if white takes on e8, we take with check, and we're going to win that bishop next move. And if rook takes c4, we're also taking here, this time with check, and we're winning the rook next move. And if the bishop moves away, since it's under attack, like say bishop c2, then just bishop takes d5, and we're skewering the two rooks. So he took here instead, and I took the rook. Oh, f5. Yeah, f5 would have been strong. I didn't notice that move. That just wins a rook entirely, doesn't it? Because if this rook moves, bye-bye rook on h1. So I just grabbed here, which is also sufficient for victory. And I think the only thing of note in the rest of this is not being afraid to simplify the position, even if it means like giving up a point of material. Like here, for instance, I played rook d3 check. The computer will not think this is technically the best move, but it gets white's rook off the board and reduces the chance that he'll like flag me in a losing position. And now I can just focus on advancing my majority over here. Also, even later with the move that I played, rook e4. Like, this move is not strictly necessary, but I cut off the bishop from defending h1, and I know that the pawn ending will be winning for me, as you saw in the game. If he takes, now he has to come back and try to stop my runaway h-pawn. And it's just lights out for him. My e-pawn will queen, and at no point in that ending did white have any chances. That's the important thing. Okay, so summing this one up, just an oversight by white allowing knight takes f4, but then I almost gave it right back. This turned out well, and the computer thinks it's fine, but I wish I would have played bishop takes e5, d takes e5, and then queen g5, allowing the uncomfortable move rook d7, but ultimately that would have been a better continuation. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video. Talk to you guys later. Bye.